Holy greetings and God bless you, brothers and sisters. This is Scott Bradley coming to you again to share with you what I believe that the Lord has laid upon my heart. Let me first of all assure you that as we are sharing this presentation to you today, that we are in the car, yes, but we are not driving. We are in a stationary position in a remote spot that I might share with you what I believe that the Lord has laid upon my heart. I'm looking at the state of affairs in America today, now that we have elected a new president. Now a new president has come into office, let me say very directly that Donald Trump is not a good choice. He is a liar. He's incompetent. He has no political savvy. Matter of fact, he seems to have no savvy at all for understanding anything. And you know, he's going to throw the country into a bad state unless something is done. Unless he's some type of way removed or he learns real fast, or I don't know what to say, but I'm praying and I'm praying for him. Yes, I am praying for him. I'm praying that the Lord would lead and guide him. After all, the man is in position of power. He is in the position of being the most powerful man in the world. And certainly, like him or not, we ought to pray for him. But that being said, I want to deal with certain things that I find quite disturbing, particularly around this entire incident. Let me first say, in hindsight, most of us look back and realize that Hillary Clinton was probably not the best choice to run against him. Again, I speak this as an independent. I don't consider myself Democratic or Republican. I consider myself an independent. So I'm not speaking from a political party standpoint. I'm speaking as an independent, looking back and realize it probably was not the best choice to put Hillary Clinton up against him. But again, that's all water under the bridge. The fact of the matter is Donald Trump is in. But I want to speak to white Christian evangelicals, if I may, because you have overwhelmingly, the polls revealed that white Christian evangelicals overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump and they wanted him in office. I think there's something that we must understand, every one of us, black folks, white folks, and that is this. America has never been kind to black people. Never. Even now. Even with the invention of social media, some of us think that a lot of the stories of past lynchings and historic lynchings where black men were lynched and burned and all that kind of stuff, we think that that's something of the past. We think that does not happen anymore. But social media has brought out to realize that many of the things that we as a black people have suffered are still currently happening with us. Maybe not being hung from trees and strange fruit, as Billie Holiday sang in her song, but our young black men are being gunned down by the police. There's always been a trouble with black men and the police, and even gunning down one another. This is a sad situation to see us turning on one another and destroying one another. But let me say this. It ought to disturb you as white Christian evangelicals that black folks are leaving Christianity. That ought to concern you. Now, I am a Christian. Let me make that very clear. I'm a Christian. I love the Lord. I'm a preacher of the gospel. I believe the Bible is right. And I believe that Jesus Christ is the only way. And I preach Jesus. So let's be very clear on that. I'm not trying to start a revolution to turn people away. Matter of fact, it disturbs me that I see many of our black young men and women, particularly the generation. I look like we're in the second generation of young black folk that have never been to church. I find that disturbing. And there are a number of reasons for that. But one of the reasons is, my white Christian evangelical brothers and sisters, is because of the way you have presented Jesus. Because in many cases, what people see in you is a reflection of the profession that you have. Now, down through the years, especially the 20th century, Jesus was always presented as European. The Hollywood industry, the social media, even recent documents, recent movies that have come out have always presented Jesus in a European way. Moses, looked like Charlton Heston supposedly. Even when I looked at the movie years ago in the Bible and the creation of Adam and Eve had them as these blonde Scandinavian-looking Caucasians. First of all of that is biologically impossible. It's anthropologically impossible, and a number of other things that would make that not possible at all. In fact, anthropology reveals to us that the first people on the earth were black people. But again, the way that you have presented it, at the same time, you have used this to justify your racism. Yes, you have used this way, Christianity, to justify your racism. I'm listening to a lot of the people that have been turned off and say, I don't want to have anything to do with that. And they point to Christianity as the oppressor. Black folks have said this. point to Christianity as the oppressor. Now, you know, I think that there's overall ignorance in that mindset, but it's the way you have presented it. It's the way you have shown it. You've made Jesus and the angels and God and Moses and David look like you. And then at the same time, you've been oppressive to black people. You have been evil to black people. Even now, Donald Trump, who you knew good and well, is a narcissist, racist. And what does he do? First thing he does is start to put a ban on oppressed countries of people of color because of their religious difference. Now, again, I'm not saying that to promote Islam. I'm a Christian. I believe that Jesus Christ is the only way. Let me reiterate that. I am a preacher of the gospel. But ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends of mine of the white Christian evangelical community, you are presenting an oppressive gospel. You know, when I did my first major book, The Black Man, Cursed to Blessed, and it's out of print now, unfortunately, it sold over 10,000 copies, 2 printings of it. But when I first had it, published it in 1993, I went to a Christian press, matter of fact, a press that I ever actually worked for. And the repercussions on it were so bad from the white people there. In fact, one fellow went out of his way to embarrass me. But many of them were saying that I should not be caught up in that kind of thing, that I should not, I'm stirring flames of racism by saying things that I said in the book. And basically what I said in the book was that the white Christian attitude has oppressed black people, has been used as a tool to keep them in power politically, religiously, economically. I began to break it down. I began to talk about it in the book. I began to talk about how the images that we see are not historically accurate. And I'm saying that now, now some 20-some odd years later, because the book came out in 93. But I got a lot of backlash from many of the white Christians there because they felt like I should not be talking about that kind of thing. Why not? Because I'm trying to encourage our people, black people, to walk with Jesus. And the images that we've been presented and the prejudice and the racism that was used in the name of Christianity to come against us was wrong. And it's still wrong. And I'm telling you now, it's wrong. Let me say this to you, my white friends. When you look at the status of black folks, you look at the middle class and lower class of black people, we see the world entirely different from middle class and upper class white America. Middle class and upper class white America sees things completely from a different perspective and are recipients of white privilege. Middle class and lower class black people see the world from a whole different angle and are the victims of racial discrimination. Even to the point where the lower class white people feel like they're better than lower class black people, and for that fact, middle class and upper class black people, because of the mindset, because of the mentality. And so when you try to convince us that we should not vote for a candidate because they believe in abortion, and I don't believe in abortion. I believe abortion is wrong. But you know what? I think you're also wrong if you cut out programs to take care of the child after the baby's born. You want the baby to be born, but you don't want to take care of it. You don't want to do what's necessary to help the mother take care of it. See, I believe that homosexuality is wrong. I am opposed to same-sex marriage. I understand that. But you have to understand why this came about. Because oppressed people, when they see another oppressed people, for whatever reason, they become sympathetic toward them. You know, black folks have been oppressed and discriminated against for hundreds of years. And when we see another group that is probably equally oppressed, probably not, well, I wouldn't say equally oppressed. I don't think that none of them folk have been oppressed like we have. But, you become sympathetic. Now, I'm not sympathetic. I'm praying that God save them. But I'm talking about overall as a people. You look at the situations that have happened. You see, so you have to understand that those of us in the black community, as black Americans, that have always been victims to America's racism, we see the world from a different perspective than you do. A number of years ago, I made a statement on social media about one particular preacher on television who was saying horrible things about President Obama. And I mean, it was, people say that, well, it's not racist. It is racist. Look, that Republican Party that blocked his every move did not block it for political reasons. It was racial. The reason why they would not allow him to appoint a Supreme Court justice when a vacancy was there and it was his constitutional obligation and the Republicans blocked it was racial. Now you say, oh, you take everything. Of course we do, because we've been the victim of it for so long. Black folk know racism when they see it. We can read the code words. We can read between the lines. You say one thing, but we know you mean another. Now, that being said, when we look at the status of how America has treated we as an African-American people, and as I started to say, a number of years ago, I made a statement on social media about a particular preacher who said certain things about President Obama, and I guess he tried to feel justified because he thought it was from a Christian perspective, and I challenged it on social media. And I got a backlash from a person who said that I have evil in my heart, and that he's praying that the Lord would take the evil out of my heart. Sir, ma'am, why do you think that I'm evil? Because I see a situation and I address it. Am I supposed to be silent? Am I supposed to be, as you say, a good Christian would not stir the pot? The pot has already been stirred. And in fact, the pot is spinning. But yet I'm supposed to sit there because I'm a preacher. I'm supposed to sit on the side and be quiet and not say anything because, praise the Lord is going to work it out. When God has given me a voice and a brain, when God has given me the ability and a platform to say things that should be said. The late Dr. Martin Luther King said, why should I have to continue to march for things that I should already have, that I should have received at birth? I'm a citizen of the United States of America. Marcus Garvey said that we as black people will never achieve anything and success in this country and encourage black folk to migrate back to Africa. Other various ones down through history have spoken and said things. Oh my goodness, Frederick Douglass, Martin Delany, Booker T. Washington, W.E.B. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey, as I previously stated, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, Louis Farrakhan, other variables that have spoken concerning things that confront we as black people. Here's another interesting thing, and I'm saying this in my closing. History that has been hidden from us. I love the movie Hidden Figures. I saw that and I was so impressed. Why is it we never knew about these young women, black young women? Then there's another fellow by the name of Hamilton Naquet. I would encourage everybody to look him up. Here was a man in 1967 in apartheid South Africa, a black surgeon who learned it, never was formally trained, picked it up, who was a part of the heart transplant team for the first successful heart transplant in the world. Hamilton Naquet, look him up. Vivian Thomas, who was not allowed to, even though he picked up surgery again, never formally trained, but learned it. And I want them to make a movie about these people who stood over the shoulder of the doctor to help the first successful operation for blue baby disease. And he stood over the shoulder because he was not allowed to touch a white baby. So he had to stand on a stool over the surgeon's shoulder and tell him what to do. Why is it that most of us as black people don't know about this? My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Brothers and sisters, it's time for us as black people to turn our hearts to Jesus, not the white Jesus that you've been seeing. I've been looking, I was in a store the other day and saw they've got articles now on Jesus and all of them present him as this European character. That's not the Jesus of the Bible. Now, you can be upset with me if you want, but I'm telling you the truth. That's not the Jesus of the Bible. In fact, I'll tell you something else. I do a presentation. I would encourage you to look up my website when I'll be doing it, the Biblical Blackness presentation. I start from Genesis through Jesus, and I prove to you that all these people were black folk and that the Garden of Eden was in East Africa, and most of the Old Testament took place in East Africa. I do a whole presentation on that. But I want to encourage you to begin to seek the Lord. And I mean seek him out of a sincere heart. Some folk need to repent. I remember a few years ago when white folk came and washed black people's feet and said, we're sorry. That didn't last very long. That went right back to where we were before because they lost a lot of money. I'm not going to go into that now, what that was all about. Maybe one of these days in the presentation I will. But I want to encourage us because the times are evil. The days are dark. And black folk, my brothers, my sisters, I want you to understand, don't look for anything out of this world. Learn how to be economically sound. I've said this. Most of us are sitting around waiting on reparations. Chances are that's never going to happen. But even if it did, you not realize that would be an economic setup? Because America knows, because black folk don't understand economics. that if in fact we got reparation checks, say for $150,000, just throw that figure out there. Most of y'all in a year's time wouldn't have it no more. 50%. And I venture to say in 5 years, 80% wouldn't even have it no more. Because we don't know how to invest. We don't know how to keep money within the community. We don't know how to pool our resources. There's so much that we have never been taught, so much that we will not learn. We'd rather stand on the corner and rap and have dreadlocks in our head and tattoos all over our body and bounce around rather than learn some economics. Yeah, I said it. You can get mad at me if you want to, but listen to what I'm saying. You're never going to get anything standing around rapping on the corner, rapping in the subway. And those that are on the stage are few and far between, and they're put up there on purpose to reinforce a negative stereotype of young black people. And young black folk run after that and try to be like that. And where does it get you? Dead. Yeah, I said it. You deal with it. God bless you. My time is up. Listen, go to our website, scottbradleyministries.vp. That's V as in Victor, P as in Paul, vpweb.com. Check out the calendar where we're going to be. We're going to be speaking in the Chicago area. I appreciate all of you that I've been getting correspondence from all over the world. My God, Russia, China. Oh, my God, UK. What was that? Pakistan. Oh my God, I'm getting responses from my website from people, places that I may never get to go. But you're hearing this gospel. God bless you. Pray for us. We look to talk to you again real soon. God bless.